It's not staying on, whatever it is. Now it is. Now it is. Now it's on. Now it's on. Oh, it's going towards me? What's he doing? Oh, gosh. Come on, stay on, stay on, stay on. Stay on. Stay on. Stay on. Oh! Come off? Come off? Or is he swimming at me? Okay, he's still on here. Channel cat. Channel cat, channel cat, channel cat. Yep. We got a channel cat here. It is a small one, but we got one. So that takes the skunk out of the way. Heck yeah. Holy cow. Holy smokes, this is a nice, I think this might be a carp. This might be a carp. Holy cow, no wonder he took the rod all the way over. Wow, this is a big carp. Holy shnikes. This is a massive carp. Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm going to attempt to show this carp off if I can get him far enough back. But yeah, he's a mondo. He's an absolute unit. Alright, we're going to send this carp back into the river. Oh my gosh, he's a beast. Whoa. See. But yeah, I'm out here on the river tonight, obviously. And I didn't even get set up till 9:45. I caught a channel cat at like 9:48. I caught that carp at 10, and it's a little after 10 now, and I just got a huge takedown on this middle rod. It's got the live bait. I just put some cut bait on this front rod, night crawler on the back rod. So, you know, we're throwing 3 different baits at him tonight. But I really hope whatever hit that middle rod comes back, because I didn't get it on camera because I had all my lights off. But it just dipped that rod all the way down almost to the water. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and explain it again. Cut bait, I got a bluegill head on this front rod, size 8 hook, Carolina rig. Same rig on the middle one, 8/0 hook, Carolina rig, but I've got a live bluegill on. And then on the far rod, I've got a night crawler. Now I've been doubling up my night crawlers, and I caught a channel cat and a big carp on the far rod with double night crawlers. I brought a dozen out here, so I'm only going to have 4 more opportunities to catch something on that back rod while I got the night crawlers. Obviously the night crawlers are what seems to be working yet again, but I did get a giant takedown on this middle rod. But you know, a lot of times these slow big takedowns could be sticks, logs, you know, running through, so I can't be sure that it was a catfish. Stay on. It's not staying on, whatever it is. Now it is. Now it is. Now it's on. Now it's on. Oh, it's Swimming towards me? What's he doing? Oh, gosh. Come on, stay on, stay on, stay on. Stay on. Stay on. Stay on. Oh! Oh! Yeah. Take me around that pillar. Take me around the pillar. Oh! Oh, that was a huge flathead. Oh. 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 What happened here? I don't know. I must have just had him. The hook is still intact. The hook is still intact. Must not have been a good hook set. Oh, he was a beast. He was a beast. I won't get another opportunity at him. Wow. Oh. All right. Now we're relaxed. Don't think I'm going to get another opportunity at catching a flathead. Not after losing that one. It's been about an hour. I haven't had any hits. Well, just as I say that, I did put a bullhead on this rod, on this middle rod. I've got a bluegill head on this front rod. I've got a live bullhead on the middle rod. And on the far rod, the night crawlers are not getting hit anymore. So I've got one night crawler and a body chunk of a bluegill on that back rod. But yeah, I kind of feel like they're just going to shut down tonight now because that flathead I had on was a brute. And I know it doesn't really show up in the video, but I got a pretty good look at it with my headlamp, and he had some shoulders on him. I think he was at least, I know 20 pounds isn't very big for a lot of places, but he was at least 20 pounds. And I think what happened was I had a big bluegill on and a size 8 hook, and it happened to me before. I've lost flatheads because the hook wasn't big enough to get over their tooth patch with the big bait that I had on. That's why I switched to those little red ear sunfish that seemed to really do the trick, and then I started hooking up again. But I couldn't catch any of those today. Bullheads, he's getting excited. But yeah, I doubt I'm going to catch probably any more fish tonight. Like none of my videos are getting watched. Like last 4 or 5, I don't really, you know, they're just tanking. And so I figured tonight I may as well just tell a story of how I ended up fishing the river so much. How I really even discovered the river. There was a guy when I would fish the lake. Now, anyone that fishes Grand Lake St. Mary's, you may have known him. His name was Tom, okay? And he was a good dude, okay? But he was very, he was very unnerving when he would come out. Like, he never brought a fishing pole, right? Like, I would be fishing and he would come up behind me with no rod and then strike up a conversation. And these conversations were always of a provocative nature that would make anyone feel uncomfortable with, right? And that bullhead is really, he's acting like he's getting chased. But like I said, I'm sure it's not a flathead because that big flathead probably scared all the other flatheads off. But anyway, what happened was, Tom, which, again, I don't want to talk ill of the man, but he did have a way of making me feel uncomfortable. But what he did do is he did show me some spots on the lake that could produce fish. So I am grateful to him for that. But anytime he saw my truck, he would always, and I would go to places where I didn't think there was any way he would walk that far to find me, and he always would. And he never had like, if he would have had a fishing rod with him, I wouldn't have felt so uncomfortable and awkward. But he never brought anything with him but himself, and he always told me these stories that were very they weren't right. Okay, like Cinemax After Dark stories, only not good. Yeah, and I'm open-minded. I don't have anything against anybody, whatever their sexual preference is, but his seemed to be more of the male on male nature, and that made me feel very uncomfortable. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but the fact of the matter was, he wasn't fishing. He would stand like here I am, and he's telling me these stories with, his right there. And anyway, but the bottom line is this: what happened was, I chased him off a few times. I was rude. I said, Tom, I've been cool to you, I've been nice to you, but I just want to be alone. I want to spend my time out here, away from people and just fish. And so he would go away, but he would always come back. And so what happened was, I ended up trying out the river, because he basically just made the lake unfishable for me, because he didn't have a job. Okay, and again, he was a good guy. I'm not trying to speak ill of him. It's just when I'm fishing, if you're not fishing with me, it's just uncomfortable. And I'm really uncomfortable fishing with anyone. I'd rather fish by myself. But if someone isn't even fishing and they're just talking to me and they're telling me stories that are making me feel uncomfortable, anyway, it was just really awkward. But what he did, where there was value in his presence, was that I knew I had to find another place to fish. I had to figure out some way. Oh shit, here we go. There we go now. Yeah, well, let's hope we can keep this on. This is probably a channel cat. Yeah, he's splashing like a channel cat. But yeah, Tom, he got me to the point where I was like, I can't fish the lake anymore. I got to find some other place to fish. And what I did was I started fishing this river here. Well, it's a nice channel. I think this is a good one. This is a real good one. Yeah. So I can't tell if it's a channel cat or a flathead, but it's a good one. Whatever it is, it's a good one. Oh yeah, it's nice. It's flathead. It's not a big flathead, but it's a nice flathead. I'll pick him up here real quick. This is a much smaller than the one we had on earlier, but he's a good one. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Heck no. Oh. All right, let's show this fella off. He's not a giant. He ain't a giant, but he's a nice one. There ain't nothing wrong with these kind of flatheads out here. So heck yeah. We lost a big one. We caught a nice tweener here. So we're doing good. We're doing real good. We'll get back to that story here in a minute. I'll try to get my headlamp on. Ouch, he's biting the shit out of me. Yeah, here he is. There he is, boys. Heck yeah. Alright, we're gonna set this little flathead go here. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, we are. Whoa. Oh, jeez. I guess he was ready really quick. Oh, goodness gracious. And that, he hit on where I had that night crawler and a body chunk. So That's good. I'll have to get back to that story. Evidently telling stories is good luck for me. Okay. So let's get back to story time. Well, I tell you what, he bit me good, which I dig. I dig it. Anytime you can catch a flathead, great time. So getting back to Tom, so what happened was, and he's a nice guy. I'm not speaking ill of the man, but I know anyone that fishes Grand Lake from the bank, you all know this guy. Most likely you do. But what he did, like I said, he showed me a couple good spots on the lake, which was great. I'm forever indebted to him for that. But what happened was, he even followed me home one night when I left the lake, and that was unnerving. So basically, I couldn't go to the lake anymore. Anytime that I went to the lake, he would always show up, and he would never have a fishing pole with him. He would just bring himself, and these stories of, I can't go into them because, they're X-rated, right? But yeah, so it just made me feel uncomfortable, and because I'm a good guy. I'm a nice guy. I don't like to be a dick to anybody, but I was a dick to him a couple of times and chased him off, and it made me feel bad. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like someone behind me the whole time talking to me and talking the way he was. But anyway, what he did was it made me find the river, because I hadn't really been a catfisherman until 2018. My girlfriend at the time was into catfishing. I wasn't, but she got me into it because I'm like, here she's drinking White Claw. She caught a 12-pound channel cat, and I'm just pounding the shoreline for these little bass, and I'm like, man, I'd much rather catch a big fish and drink. So I fell in love in 2018 with catfishing, but I was only using like Walmart baits, like magic bait, frozen shrimp, and stuff like that. Like, I didn't really consider myself a catfisherman until 2021 when I started catching my own bait, and I came out to the river because of Tom, and I hooked up with a flathead. I was using cut bluegill under a bobber, because there's snags everywhere you go on the river. There's just tons of snags. So I was just fishing with the bobber, and I caught my first flathead, and I just really fell in love with it. So that's why when I say I'm new to all this, I kind of am, because I haven't really been catfishing seriously since 2021. And here we are in 2024. I got my YouTube started in 2023. My biggest flathead I ever caught was in 2021. Cut bait, okay? This was all on cut bait in 2021. But getting back to not Tom, but catching the flatheads out here on the river, what I found was in 2022 I didn't catch any, but I was using big bluegill, using these size 8 hooks, and I would get these massive takedowns, but I never got any hookups. So what I did is I started catching these smaller red-eared sunfish on these size 8 hooks, and I was hooking up, and I started catching flathead again last year. Well, that bluegill, or I'm sorry, that bullhead, boy, I tell you what, I need to keep talking. That's a good thing. It's giving me good luck right now. So anyway, so I think that big flathead that I missed, I think what happened was I had those size 8 hooks on. I had a big bluegill on, and I don't think that hook got all the way around his tooth patch. And I think that's why he came off right up here towards the bank. I thought he was going to break me off on that pillar, but I actually got him off of that, and then he came off. I think, like I said, I don't think the hook, because the hook was fine. I don't think it got around his tooth patch, and he just shook his head and it came off. But anyway, so I'm actually forever indebted to this guy named Tom. I don't even know his last name. Strange man, older man, tiny guy, about 135 pounds, 5'7", just a little guy, not intimidating. He would remind me of Richard Simmons. Like, he wore like the little shorts like Richard Simmons does, and he wore these little and he had a rolled pack of cigarettes up, and he would smoke, and he was a chronic smoker, chain smoker. But Anyway, long story short, well, this isn't a short story. It's a long story. What he did, where there was value in meeting this guy, was that he did show me some good spots on the lake, and he did drive me off the lake and put me on the river. So it all worked out really great. And I didn't see him for a while because I guess he relocated to Indian Lake, and somehow he ended up, he found me on Grand Lake. I hadn't seen him in over a year. He found me one day, and he came out to talk to me. It was on a Sunday. He said he just got out of church. And he was really like a different guy. He didn't say anything vulgar. He was cool. But he still told stories. Like this man would, you talk about fish stories. This guy had you couldn't believe anything he said. He said he was working for the FBI and the CIA, and he was going to Virginia to clean up the streets where the homeless and the drug addicts were. And I got about probably 8 videos I could do just on all the stories that Tom told me about the CIA and the FBI. And you know, he was a retired RN, and which I believe that part. I believe he was a registered nurse. But he was I'm not getting any bites right now, and I really have to pee, so I'll go ahead and shut the camera off. Okay, so I don't really remember where I was, what I was talking about, but just to put a little bookend on Tom there, you know, he was a good fella. You know, he was just a little weird, and I don't like I avoid people. You know what I mean? Like I have social anxiety. I really do. So I just feel uncomfortable, you know, around other people. But in particularly if they're putting their crotch right here and talking about hooking up with dudes. That just makes me feel uncomfortable. And again, I'm open-minded, and I don't care what anybody does behind closed doors. It's just, you know, when you're focusing on your fishing rods and somebody's right behind you like this, and he's talking about his sexual preferences, it's unnerving. It makes me feel like, man, what's he going to do? Like, if I'm focused on catching a fish, he could hit me in the head, knock me out, and who knows what. But he was a good guy, okay? And that's what I was trying to say. It's like, even though like he made me feel nervous and uncomfortable and awkward, there was value in his being, you know. Like I said, he showed me some good spots on the lake, but he also, because I wanted to avoid him so he wouldn't see my truck, and then because he could find me no matter, I would walk like a mile and a half where I thought there's no way he's going to come find me here because my truck's there, and I would deliberately park in an opposite way of where I was going to fish just because I wanted to avoid him, and he would always he always found me. So like I said, throughout all of that, it forced me to find other places to go, find other spots, and I fell in love with the river, you know, and yeah. So there's been some people, you know, reach out to me, people that I don't know personally, but I know them either on YouTube or Facebook, that have wanted to come fish with me or me go fishing with them. And here's the thing, you know, and I hope to do that, but what I don't think, a lot of you don't understand that even though I'm on YouTube and I'm talking to not so many people, but theoretically I could be talking to hundreds to thousands of people, because I've only got like 400 and some subscribers, and according to my analytics, only 3% of them watch my videos. So we're talking maybe 15 to 20 people that actually watch my videos. But there have been a few people that have reached out and said they would like to fish with me. And I do. I want to, and I will. But I'm a very socially awkward guy. You know, I had a karaoke business with one of my buddies. And, you know, I was very vocal and outgoing, but I had to get inebriated to be that way. And so I knew I couldn't carry on that way, so I don't do the karaoke anymore. But what I want you guys to know, that if you are wanting to fish with me sometime, I hope to fish with you, or at least meet you somewhere out, on whatever lake or body of water you're on, and I will, introduce myself or whatever. But I'm just, I'm a quiet guy. I'm a weird dude, and I have anxiety. My anxiety is really bad, and fishing actually helps my anxiety, And why I started a YouTube channel was because, most of the time I don't keep any of the fish that I catch. So like a lot of the people that know that I fish all the time, they were like, I don't know why you fish all the time and you don't eat your catches and blah, 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 blah. And so I had to somehow, some way justify all of the time that I spend fishing, And so I was like, well, I'll just start making videos, and then that way I could justify how much time I spend on the river or the lake or wherever I'm at. And I do keep some of the fish, and it's good. But like I said, by and large, I just come out to fish because it's cool, it's peaceful, and I know in all of my nighttime videos you guys hear the locusts and the cicadas and stuff, and I know that's annoying probably, but I love it. It's very peaceful. It's like sleeping with a fan on. So I like that, I just love night fishing. Now when fall comes, I'll do a lot of daytime fishing, but in the summer, my gosh, it's so hot during the day, but it's so peaceful at night. It's awesome. Yeah, and so like in this video, I decided, you know what? No one has watched my kayak videos. People have kind of stopped watching my videos altogether. And a lot of my videos, I edit them down to like under 20 minutes to even 10 minutes. And they're all over an hour long. So in this one, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm just going to make a long video. If somebody wants to watch it, great. But only 3% of the subscribers watch them anyway. So why not just put myself out there and just be who I am and tell my story? And if people stick around to hear it, awesome. If they don't, most of them they're gone in the first 30 seconds anyway. So I ain't going to make it on YouTube, and I don't really give a shit if I do or if I don't. I'm just trying to justify the amount of time I spend fishing, catfishing, because I freaking love it. And I said all of this, and I didn't even get a hit, and I thought I would. It worked that one time, but you know what's weird? That back rod has caught all the fish. This rod here had the big flathead that I did not hook up with because I don't think that hook got over its tooth patch. This one hasn't gotten anything. I had a headpiece on it, which is normally the best bait I could ever use. Nothing. So now I switched that out. I put a fresh cut body chunk on it, and the far rod has a headpiece. And the bullhead has stopped, so he's probably found his way under a log, so I'm going to have to reel that in, check it out, and see what's going on with that. But anyway, I'm sure no one's going to watch this video other than my mom and dad, Sam and Elsie. I guess they watch my videos, which is awesome, my uncle and my aunt. And yeah, there's a few others, but I appreciate the comments that I do get on my videos from those that comment, and for those that do want to fish with me, I'm going to try to get out. I'm going to try to get out of my shell and do that. It's just, it's been really hot, and I only fish at night, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning now, so I'm just a weird person. I'm a weird guy, but I love to fish, especially for flatheads. We'll see if there's something on that back rod. There it is. There it is. There is something on here. My guess is that it's going to be a channel cat, because we've got 2 night crawlers on here. So I'll bet it's a channel cat. Sure looks like a good size channel cat or a small flathead. I don't know. I don't know, but it's on the night crawlers. All right, here he is. Second flathead of the night. Nothing huge, but hey, pretty good night. Pretty good night tonight.